Hello and welcome to another OXM exclusive about Dragon's Dogma. If you haven't seen any of these so far, I recommend watching the little introduction one I've done. You can click here for that. Or if you'd like to know more about the job system first, then click on this little box here. Today I'm going to be talking about the pawn system and how your party works. Now, first of all, pawns. Let's just get it all out of our systems. Dragon's Dogma is a game in which you have your own pawn that you can share online with your friends. You can share your pawn online with your friends. Now, we kind of need to gloss over that so we can get into some of the more complicated details. Let's have a look at my current party. Now, I've got here Dan the Fat Rogue, Burrell the Soldier, and Jumbles. Now, out of these three, the only person who is actually a constant member of my party is Jumbles. Jumbles is the character that I have customly built, just like I built my character. He is my constant sidekick. Now, I've chosen to make him a warrior because I kind of fancy just fighting from afar. Now, all of his equipment, all of his skills, they are completely under my control. I can craft him to be whatever I want. But if I need different skills in the party, then I'm going to go and use a Rift Stone. Now, when you pop into the Rift, it's all blue and ghosty and ethereal, and the general idea here is that you can look online and you can summon brand new pawns from anywhere. Now, if you don't use the internet, don't worry. There is a whole selection of custom-built pawns that you can just access at any point. If you're using Xbox Live though, it's a lot cooler. You can download your friends' pawns and bring them into your game for a bit, or you can randomly let your pawn be used by people all around the world. And whenever you rest at an inn, your pawn will give you some items and come back with a bit more knowledge because they've been off helping somebody else. So now I'm shopping for something a bit different. Now, this guy, he looks alright. Strider, bow and arrow, not bad. I've just become a magic archer, so I'm kind of good when it comes to bow and arrows, although he does have a lovely pair of daggers at his hips. I think I'm going to have to let this one go, to be honest. I need something a little bit more magical, because now I'm not doing magic so much. I need somebody else to be buffing up the party with spells and just generally keeping everybody alive, because I'll be honest, I can't be bothered with healing people anymore. It's a bit of a nightmare. You'll see here that this guy's already got some preset skills. Now, I can't change those. Whoever owns this character has set up this character, so his equipment and his skills are all fixed. As long as he's in my party, he will not level up and he will not change. Now, this means that I have to choose them quite carefully, and more importantly, you guys have to make them quite carefully. Now, if I've got a pawn that's a bit useless and somebody else hires him into the game and realises he's a bit useless, they're not going to keep him very long, and he's not going to get rated very well by other players, which means that he's not going to get used very often, and I'm not going to get rewarded with more Rift Crystals. And Rift Crystals are the currency that you use to buy really good pawns. So if I'm really stuck, I can go and I can buy a really, really badass companion. Now, I can't really find exactly what I'm looking for now, but I've decided that Dan, the Fat Rogue, has to go. I did like him, so I'm going to give him a little gift to take back to whoever owns him. I'll give him some grapes, that'll be nice. And so now I give him a little rating. And I can rate his appearance. Well, let's be honest, he's a cool fat black guy with a moustache, so he's getting 5 stars. Battle rating, no, he's alright. Helpfulness, you weren't that helpful, Dan. You were more of an aesthetic. And I can also send a little review, and I'm going to comment on his appearance. And I'm going to say, he definitely has a compelling mystique about him. And I'm going to send that back, and that pawn will then go back to whoever owns it with some grapes and also with some experience. Not level experience, he won't be a higher level, but he will have learnt more about enemies and quests within the game. This is a mind-boggling feature that basically means that the more pawns fight different enemies, the more they do different quests, the more they go to different areas, they will learn about those areas and they'll be able to help you. Which effectively means that if I've got a pawn that has finished a quest that you haven't, and you borrow that pawn, then he'll know how to do it. Which means if you get to a locked gate, he'll say, "Oh, I know where the lever is," and they'll run off and you can follow them, and they'll help you finish the quest. It sounds bonkers, but it's brilliant. Anyway, we're looking for a mage, and this guy does not quite fit the bill. This is an example of somebody not doing a great job of maintaining their pawn. It looks like they've probably spent most of their money making their main character really powerful and forgotten to equip their pawn with good equipment, and they haven't even used all 6 skill slots for this character. He's only got a couple of skills here and there, and they're mostly ice-based, which isn't, as useful as it should be. Now, I can't find what I'm looking for now, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the summon menu, and I'm going to search through for specific criteria. Now, I want a certain level, maybe a couple of levels higher than me, because I'm thinking I'm going to keep this one for a while, rather than just having a quick pawn that I can swap in and take on one adventure. I like a more constant one that I can keep for a little while. I need a mage, which means I can go through and I can search by vocation, and I can find specifically what I want. Once I've done that, I'm going to bring up 5 different ones that I can summon in at once. I'm going to summon in 5 different mages, sort of for a little bit of an interview process. So I've selected 5 different mages, and now I go back into the realm, wait around for a minute, and hey, here they all start to come wandering in so I can have a look at them. Now, Cicero, he's got a nice hat, hasn't he? It's a bit of expensive hat, but, you know, he's not bad, and he is a fully ranked out mage. Oh, he's showing a bit of thigh as well. Nice bit of thigh, something for the ladies. He's got some good skills, actually, but very ice-based. I mean, all of those skills are ice, and that's not bad. And his knowledge of different enemies isn't great, which means in combat he's not going to be able to really offer much insight in terms of how to beat enemies that we haven't faced. But he has faced quite a few enemies that I've not even seen yet. That could come in handy, but I'm not sure it's what I need now. His quest knowledge, though, is very good. He's completed some quests that I'm currently doing. He's also completed quite a lot of quests that I haven't even started or seen yet. And again, though, his knowledge of the world and different areas is a bit basic. So, I mean, he's not a bad hire, but he doesn't really look particularly special either. And at the moment, if I am going to shell out a couple of 100 Rift Crystals, then I want to get something a bit nicer. Now, this looks like the chap, Alistair. Yeah, he's got a lovely beard and nice long hair. Let's have a look at his skills. Yes, this is somebody who's done a really good job with their pawn. He's got a fantastic healing spell right there. He's got the ability to imbue weapons with fire. That's always useful. And he's got a couple of really nice fire spells as well. This is the guy that I want. Now, he's a bit expensive, but it's fine. I'm going to chip out 131 Rift Crystals. Probably going to be worth it in the long run. At the same time, though, I did kind of like Cicero, and I think he might have potential. He's not quite there at the moment, but so what I'm going to do is I'm going to add him to my favourites, and then he'll kind of appear in my world more often, and I'll see him again. And if later, whoever's playing him has kind of sorted him out a bit more and given him some better skills, I might take him along with me. Because that's the thing, you don't just see these characters here, you'll actually see them wandering around the world as well. So you can go into the Rift for very specific searches, but every now and then you'll just be walking down the road, and you'll meet a hero that you kind of like the look of, and you can kind of go, yeah, you can come along with us. Basically every hour or two you're going to want to get some new people. It encourages you to freshen it up, and also it gets away from that whole kind of fancy thing of having like your set party where you have this one role and he has a role and she has a role, and it lets you mix it up a lot more. And it means that if you want to be the sword and shield guy for a bit, then you can just hire a couple of mages and they can do all that stuff you were doing, and you can play around and do something else. If you want to know more about the job system and how all the skill stuff works, then click here.